Good afternoon. This is going to be an experiment. I'm trying recap videos, recap for the last week. This week's kind of fun. Despite some heartbreaking losses for some of the teams I cheer for, um, there was quite a turnaround in the top 10. Um, in the top 10, 9 of the teams played. Basically, everyone played but number 10, which I believe is Utah, um, or was Utah. Um, so, of those 9 playing, 4 lost. Um, so, we're going to start with a few of them. The first one, Michigan State and Purdue. Now, Michigan State looked like they were going to roll early. They were up big. And then Purdue comes out of nowhere, comes roaring back in the game, and thanks to a few stops at the end, Michigan State holds on for a 24-21 victory. But it is a victory that cost them 2 spots in the standings. They dropped from number 2 to number 4, which is a significant drop. But if the season were to end right now, they would still be in the playoffs. Um, the next team that kind of looked a little iffy was Ohio State. Ohio State was playing Indiana. Now, I've heard a lot of people down talking this game, saying Ohio State was not good at all. They looked terrible. But I don't think anybody gives Indiana as much credit as they deserve. Indiana's not a bad team. Indiana, before this game, was 4-0. Just like Ohio State, they weren't ranked, but they were still 4-0, and they were pretty convincing 4 wins. Now, they come in to this game the big underdog, and what everyone's said is that number 1 didn't roll through this game. In the first half, I believe the halftime score was 10-6 Indiana, but you can only cage the animal for so long. Ohio State comes roaring back, wins it 34-27. However, to Indiana's credit, they did hang in there the entire time. Now, this win did not affect Ohio State's standings at all. They are still number 1, which has a lot of people upset. But, I mean, they're number 1. TCU's win over Texas really wasn't enough to jump them to number 1, especially since what happened with Notre Dame this week and how Notre Dame played against Texas. And Baylor led up 35 points to Texas Tech, which was, yeah, okay, that's enough to lose to a team in any other situation. But now we got Baylor scoring, I think, 70, maybe 63 in that game. So if it weren't for Baylor's offense, they might not have won that game. I'm just saying. Still convincing wins for both, but not enough to say, oh, you guys should be number 1. Then there comes the losses in the top 10. Starting off with number 3, Ole Miss. Ole Miss was playing an undefeated number 25 Florida. A lot of people didn't really believe in this Florida team, and subsequently, Ole Miss got the huge, huge favor. Now, it was only 7 points on the spread, but still, lots of people were saying it is no contest. And they were right, it was no contest, but it was no contest for Florida. They rolled 38-10 over Ole Miss. It was insane. Now, next in line was UCLA. UCLA was playing Arizona State, an Arizona State team that has struggled significantly this year. UCLA rolling big. They were number 7. Everybody was believing in them. They were going to do it. And they just couldn't put the game together. They started out giving up a safety. They went down 9-0. And they never had the lead at any point in this game. Arizona State controlled the game. Arizona State also got 2 safeties in the game. So, I mean, 4 of their 38 points are safeties. That's just pretty impressive defensively. The next team on the list is Georgia. Georgia was number 8, and they were playing number 13 Alabama. Now, a lot of people counted this as an upset because the lower-ranked team lost. I did not. I actually picked Alabama to win. I didn't believe the Georgia hype. I still don't. But Alabama is a consistently good team. I don't know that Alabama's going to win the national title this year, but they are a consistently good team. Very good. And it's because of their coach. And ironically, Georgia was the second team to lose 38-10 in the top 10. And they're also an SEC team. So, useless fact there, but it's pretty entertaining if you think about it. Now, the last of the top 10s to lose was Notre Dame. When the game started, the first drive, Clemson goes down the field, scores a touchdown. Using one trick play to get down the field, but they still scored the touchdown once they got down there. So you can blame it on the trick play for getting down there, but once they got down there, the defense still needed to do their job of staying strong. The reason I bring that up is I've had a few people talk to me about it, talking about how it was trick plays and short fields that lost Notre Dame the game, and the reality is what lost Notre Dame the game is not playing 4 quarters of offense. We'll get to that in a bit, because this one I'm going to go a little deeper into because it was a lot that happened very late in the game. So first drive for Clemson, touchdown. First drive for Notre Dame, nothing. Second drive for Clemson, touchdown, short field. Okay, one trick play, I think, in that drive, but it wasn't a significant gain. It was just a surprise. The next drive, Notre Dame scores a field goal, and that was the halftime score. The first 4 drives is all the scoring in the first half, 14-3 halftime. Only one score in the second half, in the third quarter, and that was a Clemson touchdown to go 21-3. Notre Dame entered the fourth quarter down 21-3. It was hopeless at that point for most people. But then 2 plays into the fourth quarter, they scored a touchdown, went for 2 points, which, as the stats were given there, 21-10 is an 11-point game, whereas 21-11 is a 10-point game. Statistically, it made sense to go for 2. They missed the 2-point conversion, so it's 21-9. Clemson scores a field goal on the drive following that one. That makes it 24-9. The very next drive in the fourth quarter, Notre Dame scores another touchdown, gets the extra point. It is now 24-16. Clemson has to punt on their next drive. Notre Dame throws an interception on the first play of their next drive, which sets Clemson up at the Notre Dame 35-yard line. 4 plays, 8 yards, missed field goal. It's like, wow. Or maybe it was 18 yards. It wasn't 8 yards. It was 18, I think. But still, they missed the field goal. Notre Dame takes over, drives down the field, gets to the Clemson 12-yard line, and fumbles. Notre Dame was in scoring position to have a chance to tie the game, and they fumbled. Clemson 3-and-out punts. Notre Dame, 50 seconds left in the game, wails it down the field, just goes flying, scores the touchdown, and now it's 24-22. They have to get a 2-point conversion to tie the game, and they just get stopped. I mean, it was close. But Clemson gets the stop, and then Clemson recovers the onside kick to hold on to the victory. Now, the reason I bring all this up is because, think about that. That's Notre Dame put on the board 19 points in the fourth quarter because they went for 2 twice. If they hadn't gone for 2 twice, if they kicked the extra point both times, they would have put up 21 points in the fourth quarter and been tied with Clemson at the end of the game with an extra point, not a 2-point conversion. It's hindsight, it's 2020, but, you know, I gotta say, I understand the call on the first one to go for 2. It made sense. You scored your first touchdown of the game in the fourth quarter. You gotta operate under the assumption that you're gonna score again, but you have to operate under the assumption that you're gonna have as few scores as possible to catch up. At which point, you need to go for 2, because going from what would it be, 11, then another 8 to 19 to 24, you can get with 3 scores. It made sense. It did make sense. given what the score was at the time, which was 21-3 when they scored the touchdown. So you got to do what you got to do, but hey, it doesn't always pay off. Now, as for my percentage, you guys probably saw my picking video earlier. As for my percentage, it was an all-time low of 68.3% correct, which means I got 41 of 60 games right. By far my worst week, but hey, I'm still over 50%, so I'm not counting it as a loss too much. And it's only my worst by about 2%. Last week I did 44 of 59. This week, just a few games fewer. But hey, I still don't think I've gotten more than I think this is the most I've gotten wrong, and it's 19, so it's still less than 20 games wrong. Hey, go me. So tomorrow I will try to post a video. I may do it later today. I'm not sure, but I will be posting either today or tomorrow a predictions video for next week's games. Got some exciting ones coming up. I think it's gonna be a fun weekend. We're gonna see who else goes down. Hey.